Hi, my name is Abby Aronson, and I'm a publicist and a marketing consultant and sort of a girl about town. And I've been coming to Woodstock in the Hudson Valley since the early aughts. Moved up here full time in 2005 and have been here kind of living the dream, as we say, for the better part of 15 years. One of the things I love the most about Woodstock is the opportunity for everybody to sort of find their own place and space. So I think that a lot of people came here thinking they were going to really relax and maybe not have too much to do, but actually I'm as busy here as I am when I go to the city, which I really, really love. One of the things that I think also has changed a lot about Woodstock in the last certainly couple of years is the fact that we are almost an entirely new community of locals, old timers, and then new people. And I love the way everybody is seemingly meshing really well. I think initially people were really scared about would the complexion of Woodstock really change, but actually I think if anything, Woodstock's gotten better. I love it here. Tugboat loves it here. We're not going anywhere.
My name is Alice Gumbel, and I'm a certified personal trainer at Glow Spa Woodstock, located on Ricks Road, right in the heart of Woodstock. So I'm a Woodstock native. I went to high school locally. I grew up locally since I was a young child. Really, the sense of community is what kept me in Woodstock. I love that I can show up to a random shoot like this and meet people I have known for years, and also meet some new faces, which is always a lovely surprise. I think for the most part, it's a welcome change. It has brought in new entrepreneurs, new people who are trying to further what we're doing in this community and are so big on, like I touched on, the community aspect. We have people coming in who really want to further what we're doing in this community and keep creating something awesome, which I think Woodstock is really founded on. So it's a welcome change in my book. You know, I just think we have some of the greatest entrepreneurial business owners that I have ever experienced in terms of ways that they're running their businesses, opening new businesses, new creatives, new ideas coming in. I think it's really just fun to see what Woodstock used to be when I was growing up here, and then what Woodstock is changing into while still encapsulating the Woodstock feel, so to say.
Okay, I'm Laurie Ostman. I live in Willow, which is a hamlet of Woodstock, and I moved to Woodstock in 1999, or bought my house in 1999. I'm a real estate agent with the Maverick team at Berkshire Hathaway here in Woodstock. I'm also a video producer. When I was in LA before I moved to Woodstock, I was in TV marketing and publicity. I was on the Ontario School Board for 14 years in various capacities as either trustee or president or vice president. And I love this area. I think when I got here, it was the first time in my adult life I felt like I was home. I was drawn to move here. And I think a lot of people are, people who love the arts, nature, music, the special kind of people that are here. It's a wonderful bubble in a way. And I think a lot of people are discovering about the Hudson Valley and Woodstock in general. Well, I know things are changing a lot in the Hudson Valley, and working in real estate, I certainly see that a lot. We have a lot of people coming up from the city and other parts of the country, whether they are moving here because they no longer have to work in offices, or because they see climate change happening in various parts of the world, and this is one of the few places that's not going to be as affected as other parts of the country, or just simply wanting a better lifestyle, better quality of life, because living here, the arts are valued. You know, music is valued, nature is valued, people are generally thoughtful, and that's not always the case everywhere. So it's a wonderful place to be, and I don't see leaving it. I think I'm home.
My name is Sam Fernandez. I'm a chef here in Woodstock. Opening up a restaurant in the old Shindig location on 1 Tinker Street. It's called Kalo K, and it's a Dominican-inspired restaurant. I mean, it's chill, there's mountains, it's beautiful. I was tired of the city life and kind of just wanted to, be somewhere that is a lot calmer and quieter. I grew up in the city, grew up in Queens, and it was a lot after a while. Yeah. So, but yeah, ultimately I just moved here because it was pretty chill and it's beautiful, and just saw a lot of opportunity here. What I like about the community, it's very community driven. Everybody has each other's backs, and that's something I had in Queens with the little block that I grew up on, everybody kind of had each other's backs, and it seems like if something happens, you could turn to somebody and they'll help you out, or they'll have a resource for you to help you out. I have seen a difference in, especially after COVID, just kind of an influx in more people that are high income earners and not necessarily, it's hard being a worker where you have a business and you need workers to live here and work here, and it's more people that kind of stay in their homes and work. But I would love to see more people that love to work and, you know, have that kind of vibrancy in that community, and just different ethnicities and all that kind of stuff. I think that makes a place more vibrant.
My name is Adele Jones Calcavecchio. I am the president of Performing Arts of Woodstock, and I have been that for, I think, 5 years. I've lost track. We've been performing since 1964 in different places, and it always shocks me and anybody else who hears about it that my first show with PAW was in 1974, when I was very young. There's, you know, some undeniable charm and pull to Woodstock. There is. And it goes way, way back from, you know, in the 20s and earlier. In fact, in this very building, I was in an original play in the 90s, I guess, about the founding of Woodstock. And I played a fortune teller, complete with shawl and crystal ball, and the founders of Woodstock were consulting me about the future. So that was great fun. That it would become a big music area, and filled with artists, and of course, what it had become, you know. So it was kind of funny to play that and be there. It was founded as an arts community around 1905. I mean, there were people here, but they were farmers, and these people came up from New York and thought they'd reached heaven, and they thought of, you know, being in little corners of the forest, painting and sculpting and doing ceramics and so forth. So that mode of living and hoping to live has persisted, and the other arts followed, but they began as painters. For instance, Bellows was a painter from those days. George Bellows, who unfortunately died of something ghastly like appendicitis, which of course doesn't kill anybody anymore, but he was a famous American painter, and there were lots of other famous American painters who were still being written about decades after their deaths, written up in the New York Times. I'm remembering Doris Lee was written up just last month, and all of these people literally died. I thought they'd died and gone to heaven because when they found Woodstock. And then, of course, there was this advent of music, different levels of music. Bob Dylan was here and lived in the house which is now owned by my best friend and her husband. And so the house is, and it, before Bob Dylan had it, it was built by the publisher and editor and publisher of the New Republic back in 1912 or 13. So, you know, people who care about things more than money are the people who came to Woodstock and remain, seems to me.
Juan Barton, DJ, and the hood therapist. Moved here in the year 2000, but I used to come and visit in like the late 90s. My dad had 2 more kids. So I came here when my little brother was born, and been here ever since. It's a cool town. It's getting weird right now though, but it's a cool town. It's just interesting because you don't really see the locals anymore, and people come and go, and you deal with certain type of people and certain type of attitudes, but you have It's a welcoming town, very welcoming to certain people. It's all about how you move and groove, though, and it's cool. I mean, like, it's cool town. Well, this is a community. It's definitely a good community. The community will take care of you if you take care of it. If you don't take care of it, then it sucks to be you. And community.
My name is Rennie Cantine. Well, I design and build houses, furniture, play in a band called Sabrina and the Gems, and coach basketball, soccer, lots of stuff in town, you know. Well, my son Cameron's the 11th generation here. And in 1686, Moses Cantine came to Kingston and settled in New Paltz and married Christian Deo's daughter. And so 11 generations, you know, it's, I didn't know it all at the time, but it always felt like home. When I was a kid, by the time I was 13, 14, I had hiked almost every mountain in the Catskills and with my friends Tim and Tom. And I didn't really quite get it then, but I found out later that one of my ancestors was a guide and a surveyor in Woodstock in the 1700s. And he had befriended all the Iroquois and he knew all the trails. And so trail running was one of the things I did a lot when I was growing up, and mostly up in Guardian, Overlook, around here. These are kind of my mountains. I grew up in Birdcliff. So, you know, it's just one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I love it. I love this community. I came back in '92 to play at the Woodstock Festival for '94. Jimi Hendrix's sister ended up asking me to play the national anthem. So that was a big honor because I was a big Hendrix freak, and it went great. And ever since then, I was the first person to play here at the Colony when they opened it up after 50 years. I just love this town, you know. It's just, I'm so glad. When I came back in '92 or so, it was kind of having a little downtime. It was kind of, a couple of stores were closed and stuff, so I put my mind at kind of creating these music venues, and I'm so glad I did. I've got to play with all the best musicians in the world, and you know, I design and build houses for a living, so nobody really can tell me what to do musically. And I'm in a band right now called Sabrina and the Gems with Sabrina Miller, who's just beautiful, brilliant, incredible woman who we've been going on 5 years now. We're working on her second record. You got to look it up. She is just so beautiful and smart. Anyway, I love this town and I love everybody in it, and I'm really proud of us. So thank you.
I'm Jason Bowman. This is Acacia Ludwig. We own and operate the Rock Academy. The community, it's amazing. So many creative people, not just artists, but activists and people who just like fun, which I like. We've grown as an organization, and the new influx of people has brought new enthusiasm for us. But as far as the town goes, I haven't really noticed much except really expensive restaurants.
I mean, it's wonderful that we have new friends and neighbors coming in. Hopefully they can all support music, you know, not try to shut it down so much, which is not a good thing for this town at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we need art. That's why we're all here.
Edie, which is what people call me, Lefevre. Lefever. I eat, I breathe, I dance, I love mime, and I co-founded Performing Arts of Woodstock in 1964 with another woman called Ida Christ, Christ. And we decided that Woodstock, in its theater section, was using professional actors, whether it was the Woodstock Playhouse or Tourneau Opera in those days. It was professional people who were doing it from the city and all. And I knew, and Ida Chris knew, that there was a lot of talent, and they were being given little roles in plays. But basically, it was time to create our own performing arts of Woodstock. And so we did. And we maneuvered as people do, working in the basements and garages and all over the place. But we certainly found out that if you're going to start a theater group, you better do a production so people know what's going on. And so we did. And Ida Christ, I believe she directed Aria de Capo. I directed an original by Danny Klein. And the thing that's famous about that is there was a reverse, I guess you call it reverse striptease. Yeah, it was a woman who was putting on gloves and doing all kinds of things instead of taking things off. She kept putting them on. And Danny Klein was quite a creative individual, and it went well. Performing Arts of Woodstock is going to be exceptional. We are not a typical community theater. We're going to do extraordinary things and lots of new plays.
I'm Robin Ludwig. I'm known as Robin the Hammer. I'm a goldsmith. My influences are primarily the 15th century and the 15th century BC. I'm also a blues singer and a guitar player. It's like a magical environment. It's been that way since pre-Columbian times. It was always known as a magical environment. And the mix of people and the mix of disciplines and the mix of musics and art forms, that's what I live on. It's more resilient than some people think. And when they say, Woodstock is over, they mean their Woodstock is over.